After the boat trip, the next day, I did a tour of Grove Farm Plantation. The farm is an 80-acre sugar plantation, which is now a museum. The initial part of the tour was done on a bike, which they hired out to us along with helmet. The tunnel you see here is the sugarcane tunnel, which was built in 1948. It's half a mile long and was built to take miles off the round trip from the mill to the harbour for the sugarcane trucks. The tunnel is completely dark, apart from what natural light reaches inside, so to help us see, they gave us little torches on the top of our helmets to help us guide us through the tunnel. The plantation, as well as running bike tours, also runs quad bike tours. This is when we ran into them. They're waiting for their turn to go through the half-mile cane tunnel. This is right in the centre of the Grove Farm Plantation. Commercial production of sugarcane stopped here in 1996 because it was far too expensive compared to the prices that the third world countries produce it at. Sugar is still grown on the plantation, but not for commercial reasons anymore. Instead, the plantation is used for other types of agriculture, such as growing coffee, growing fruit, and even using some of the reservoirs on the plantation as fish farms. There's the bike I had for my ride through the plantation. This is the Grove Farm sugar mill processing plant. Because it shut down several years ago, that's why it's now become all rusty and overgrown with weeds and vegetation.
Little seed that last that sugarcane grown on Grove Farm Plantation. They lease out to other farmers. A good example of that warehouse back there is Pioneer Seed Corn. They do a lot of experimental, like genetic experimentation. And this is the road. This road here is maintained by Grove Farm as a public beach access for Mahalapu Beach. Very generous of them to do that because it's about 1.5 miles, 2 miles to the Hyatt from here. So they maintain this road.
We went to Mahalapu Beach, where we had a picnic on the sands, and you could choose to swim in the sea afterwards if you wish to. This is one of the most beautiful beaches in the island of Kauai.
It's recording, supposedly. We'll go out there and meet him. Go out there and meet him, okay?
Take a little bit slow. It is a little bit bumpy.
And here we are at the end of the bike ride. We're just about to go down that hill. This is where we parked our bikes to then do a walk on foot to Shipwreck Beach.
Up to this point? Oh no. No, no, no. Oh no. Oh no, I wanted to get the wide angle. Okay, so here you go, you guys. Big smile now. Nice. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome.
This was another part of Kauai where the film 7 Days and 6 Nights was filmed. If you've ever watched the film, it's the scene where Harrison Ford jumps off the cliffs into the sea to escape the pirates. The wave conditions here are good for surfing, but they are treacherous for swimming because of the strong undercurrents. This is now walking along the southern shoreline of Kauai. We are walking back to a minibus, which is going to take us back to the plantation headquarters where we all parked our cars. Once my visit to Grove Farm had finished, I then drove west along the southern roads of Kauai, past Hanapi, and then onto Waimea, which is the start of the famous Waimea Canyon. I stopped off at various points, the first one being this Hanapi Valley Lookout. Apart from being a very beautiful valley, it's also where Steven Spielberg chose to film certain parts of Jurassic Park. Waimea is the location Captain Cook first landed on Hawaii in January 1778. It was Mark Twain, the famous American author from the 19th century, that first gave this canyon its nickname of the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. Although it's smaller and 200 million years younger than the famous Arizona Canyon, Waimea Canyon is certainly grand. The canyon is 10 miles long, it's a mile wide, and it is 3,600 feet deep, which is just a shade over 1,000 meters. You can see all around here that the earth is a reddish color. Waimea actually means reddish in Hawaiian language. Hence, you now know where the canyon got its name from, as well as the town that we saw earlier. The river that runs through the canyon is called the Waimea River, and it is this river that over 1 million years or so has cut out this impressive gorge you see before you. I'm now zooming in on a waterfall on the other side of the canyon with my powerful zoom. Many millions of years ago, Kauai used to contain active volcanoes, such as which we saw on the Big Island earlier. Although the volcanoes on Kauai are now extinct, it's their old lava flows which caused this valley to be characterized by the reddish soil. As I zoom in, you can see all the shades of green contained within the valleys below. All these different colours make for spectacular scenery, although I was told that on a sunny day the views are even better. This lookout is named after the canyon itself and is 3,400 feet above sea level, which is about 1,000 meters. Most pictures that you see in magazines of the Waimea Canyon are taken from this lookout. Here's a cardinal checking the car park for crumbs. The Pu Hina Hina lookout is at 3,640 feet and is near the end of the 10-mile long canyon. So this is the last view of the spectacular Waimea Canyon. On Kauai there are lots of wild chickens, or as they're known as feral chickens, or roosters, and here's some wandering round my car in the car park. At the end of the canyon the Koki State Park starts, and the road finishes here at the Kalalaw lookout. The name Kalalaw should be very familiar to you by now. That's if you've been paying attention. Since the hiking trail I did along the Napoli Cliffs was called the Kalalaw Trail, as it eventually leads to this valley after 11 miles. And on the boat trip to see the Napoli Cliffs, you may recall that once the boat reached here, the beautiful Kalalaw Valley, it turned around to go back to Port Allen. As we look at the Kalalaw Valley and zoom in on one of the many waterfalls here, you'll notice the valley is slowly being enclosed in mist. This, combined with the vegetation you encounter here, makes you feel that you could be on Earth when the dinosaurs would have roamed freely here. In fact, I can hear something now. What is it? Did you hear those dinosaurs? I'm running away now to get to the other side of the valley because they scared me so much. Of course, they were not real. I've just added them as sound effects. But you can see why that this island with this scenery was chosen for filming of Jurassic Park. This is the sign that points to Mount Waialeale, which is right in the centre of Kauai. And as the sign says, it's the most wettest spot on Earth. Those people there you see, walking into the mist, they're walking in that direction. As we zoom in on the sun setting over the hill, we see a dome. That belongs to the US naval base that's located there. And as the sun sets over the car park of the Kalalaw lookout, it's now time to move on to the final instalment of this